I just can't understand why anybody will wake up and say that we're killing people when we're actually not doing the same. And guess what? Where the Giwa barracks you're talking about, we have all the humanitarian agencies working there. You have the UN working, local and international organizations are working. Are we saying they are complicit? There is nothing we're doing in the back. So if they don't say it, which means Amnesty International is equal, and Amnesty is equally there. So which means they're equally accusing all these other organizations of being complicit.
All right. So for the past few days in Nigeria, there has been news trending all over social media about the failed coup plot in Nigeria. Oh yes, some military personnel planned to carry out coup in Nigeria, but it failed. And according to news again, that 16 of them has been arrested. Yes, 16 of them has been arrested, which personally I believe it was one of the things that made the president to change his service chiefs. The chief of defense staff has been changed, chief of naval staff, all of them, the president has changed all of them. Now, when I saw the names of these 16 persons that were arrested, you know, the coup plotters, when I saw their names, I was shocked. Do you know why? Let me read out their names for you so that you will see. Brigadier General Musta Abubakar Said, Colonel M.A. Maji, Lieutenant Colonel S. Bape, P. Damgap, Lieutenant Colonel A.A. Tayatu, Lieutenant Colonel M. Amakula, Major A.J. Ibrahim, Major M.M. Judah, Major M.A. Osman, Major D. Yusuf, Major I. Dauba, Captain Ibrahim Bello, Captain A.A. Yusuf, Lieutenant S.X. Felix, Lieutenant Commander D.B. Abdurahi, Squadron Leader S.B. Adamu. These are the 16 names they listed that they have arrested. These are the coup plotters. You know what? No Igbo name is there. No, for now, no Igbo man has been arrested. No Igbo personnel has been arrested as part of the coup plotters. This is once again to tell Nigerians that Igbo people are not your problem. Oh yes. You see, Igbos, Southeasterners are not your problem. Because over times, we think that these people are the problem of Nigeria. But I can tell you that these are the people who love Nigeria the most. Southeasterners, they love Nigeria the most. They want Nigerian unity. And that is why anywhere they go, anywhere in Nigeria, and anywhere they go, they like to develop, you know, live there comfortably and develop and live in peace with people around. Tell me which other tribe does that. Anyway, let me now allow you to listen to Sowore, because Sowore exposed something that we never knew about this coup. You see, when I tell you guys that things are happening in Nigeria, some of us don't understand. Things are happening. And you know what? Another thing is about to happen. Let me not say it. I will allow you to hear it from the horse's mouth, because this one, it passed my mouth. I know if you talk.
A soldier called me one day, one of my boys. He was crying. I paid money for his children's school fees and all that. He was crying that he was deployed to where they are protecting repentant bandits. And he's seen the ones that killed his friends and his co-soldiers and colleagues. And he's protecting them. And they are wearing uniforms. They are being fed, and they are being given all the attributes and the freedom that a prisoner cannot get. Meanwhile, people that snatch a phone, 33 Nokia, from Oshodi, from somebody's pocket, they are in prison.
And still awaiting trial.
Yes, but the de-radicalized pass through this process. A ceremony is done, and they are given certificates and allowed to integrate into the society. When I say integrate into the society, it means that they all now have rights back to join any military, police, or any agency of their choice. And I told people that could listen then, I said, the only benefits for the radicalization process is to use that their gathering as harvesting intelligence. If I gather those people together, I will put listening devices, I will give them their phones, I will put credit on their phones, I will give them access to communicate, I will begin to track all the things they are saying, the people they are calling, and I will be picking those people quietly and just take them to a separate place. And before you know, the ones you kept that you are doing the radicalization will give you enough intelligence to pick up the king's makers and the helmsmen in the forest. And before you know, everything will be dying.
It's not a rumor. There's a coup. There was a coup plot, and people were rounded up. And the revolution came from Sahara reporters. The newspaper I found it, and their reaction. It's fake news. They sponsored their trolls. They were attacking everybody who revealed this. But we knew a long time ago that this was the situation. I think they started planning the coup since 2024, and I think it was foiled in 2025.
They started, from the intel that you have, they started the planning from 2024.
Yes. Some of the sources that I spoke to told me that part of the reason the crackdown was very hard on the bad governance was because they knew around that time that some people were planning a coup. And I think some arrests of military officers were made around that period too. So if you notice during bad governance, their major grasp was that, there was Russian flags on the street and this would promote coup. And it was a time that all these Sahel countries had been taken over by military jackboots. So they started that around 2024, from what I heard. So, but I think maybe they didn't strike then, and then they kept monitoring some of them. A lot of them are disgruntled officers in the Nigerian army who felt that things are not going the way they should. But let me make it very clear, I can never support military rule. Again, I've seen the worst military rule in my lifetime. Nobody can come and tell me, fellow Nigeria, we know things are wrong. These military guys that are planning to take over, that are planning coup, will be worse than the civilians we have. What we should do, and I've said this, anybody who loves Nigeria, is for all of us to take on the system at once, have a revolution. You get another government in uniform. All these army generals we're seeing, colonels, and all that, they're the reason why there's insecurity in the country. Our society is the way we use our conscience to fight power.
But what do you have to say? What do you have to say to people who feel that, protests don't have effect as it used to be anymore? We've seen multiple protests in recent times happen, yet those challenges still persist. Do you think that the approach should be changed?
Those who say so are saying so because they don't know how much they don't let people know the kind of changes that happen when the protest happens. That's part of the strategy of the state, to make people feel like protest is useless. I just told you now, and I'm sure you didn't know, that over 29,000 policemen who had not been promoted from 8 years were promoted because of the protest. Even the guy whose video I uploaded to my Facebook page, who said was paid 2 million naira as gratuity, eventually got 6 million. Now, there's a major debate to create a police pension board, which should give them better conditions of service. There are conversations that are happening because of protests that otherwise would not have happened. So, I know this because I've been involved in a lot of protests. It was protests that brought us democracy. And let me tell you, all these people that tell you protest doesn't work, you go and cheat them today, they'll protest. There's likely no former Nigerian president that has never protested before. Obasanjo protested, Buhari protested, Tinubu not only protested, he was paying people for protests in this country until he became president. People protested for Goodluck Jonathan when he was hemmed in by the Yaradua Kappa.
Is that also, sorry to interrupt you, Omole Rialeshore. You have listed a couple of presidents who followed the line of protest. Is that also your strategy to get to the top?
No. If protests were to get somebody to the top, I think I would have become president
because you've been a presidential candidate. A couple of times. So one might want to say maybe that is your strategy to get there.
No, I was protesting when I had no political interest. So I'm just trying to correct the impression that I'm not trying to do protest to power. That is what the APC people did. My own partisan involvement in politics is to fundamentally change Nigeria. You know, the people who will become the next president may be people who have never protested before. So I'm just trying to tell you that, yes, I know that trick question, but that's not my intention. I've been protesting since I was 21 years old, when I wasn't qualified to be president, even if I wanted to.
Okay, but I mean, since you said that, so what's in it for you?
Betterment of the country. You know, I'm hoping that in protesting all these terrible conditions, everybody can be conscientized, mobilized, and educated enough to seek total liberation one day. Because ultimately, it is when we put our feet on the ground, everybody protesting at once is called a revolution.
Now, let's talk about protest and how this current administration has handled it. I'm talking about the APC government since it assumed power. I mean, you said that quite a couple of them were part and parcel of protest in the past. But do we still see a government that is a product of protest rating protests now?
You know, this APC regime, the All Progressives Congress, has treated protests the worst and almost in the history of democratic rule. You remember Lekki Toll Gate, where they opened fire on protesters, even during military rule in this country. I don't remember, except in Ikorodu Road when Abacha was passing away protesting against G0upp, and he said his convoy was intercepted or interrupted, and he opened fire on people. We were almost killed on that day too, killed several people. Since then, the APC regime under Buhari was the first to kill that number of persons for protest. They killed Lekki Toll Gate people. They massacred Shiites for protesting. What led to the massacre of Shiites was a protest in which an army officer claimed that, one of the protesters touched his chest in uniform. They went and mobilized at night and killed them and buried them in shallow graves. Tinubu is doing it. One of the reasons why I started my campaign against Exp0sed was how he handled the August 2024 End-Bad Governance protest. How he picked up kids, shot at people indiscriminately across the north in particular, and then there was no remorse. Till today, he denies it. But he was the first Inspector General of Police who used his office to charge underage kids for treason. And some people have forgotten. And since then, I said, well, this guy have no place in modern, in a democratic society and in the modern police place. So that was cause of it. So I can tell you categorically that these guys don't want expression of opinions, like freedom of movement or freedom to protest. They use the courts the most. They have judges who do their bidding when it comes to what they call Cybercrime Act. Any little thing you say about an APC person, you're in jail. Anything you say about any protest, you're in jail. High-handedness, they're brutal at protesters. But what I can tell you is that minds are hardening, and one day they'll get their comeuppance.
All right, let's move away from protest and let's talk about a recent development that came, even though it's pretty much at the level of the shadows. And that's the rumor of, a coup plot that has, been at the center of conversations. We recently saw Mr. President even overhaul his service chiefs. I mean, with all of these recent developments, what's your take on Omoyele Sowore?
Well, as you are aware, it's not a rumor. When there's a coup, there was a coup plot, and people were rounded up. And the revolution came from Sahara reporters, the newspaper I founded, and their reaction. It's fake news. They sponsored their trolls. They were attacking everybody who revealed this. But we knew a long time ago that this was the situation. I think they started planning the coup since 2024, and I think it was followed in 2025.
They started, I mean, from the intel that you have, they started the planning from 2024.
Yes. Some of the sources that I spoke to told me that part of the reason the crackdown was very hard on the bad governance was because they knew around that time that some people were planning a coup. And I think some arrests of military officers were made around that period too. So if you notice during bad governance, their major grasp was that, there was Russian flags on the street and this would promote coup. And it was a time that all these Sahel countries had been taken over by military jackboots. So they started that around 2024, from what I heard. So, but I think maybe they didn't strike then and then they kept monitoring some of them. A lot of them are disgruntled officers in the Nigerian army who felt that things are not going the way they should. But let me make it very clear, I can never support military rule. Again, I've seen the worst military rule in my lifetime. Nobody can come and tell me, fellow Nigeria, we know things are wrong. These military guys that are planning to take over, that are planning coup, will be worse than the civilians we have. What we should do, and I've said this, anybody who runs Nigeria, it's all of us to take on the system at once, have a revolution. You get another government in uniform, all these army generals we're seeing, colonels and all that, they're the reason why there's insecurity in the country. Some of the most undisciplined set of people you can imagine in the country, corrupt, they own real estate in Abuja. They're the ones, some of them supply weapons to terrorists and bandits. So I'm never going to support a military takeover of power. I'm just giving you information that I have.
All right. Just before I let you know, do you think that this recent overhaul of the security chiefs by Mr. President would improve the security situation in the country? A simple answer.
If he was serious, and you can accuse me of bias, you should have fired Exp0sed. Then I would know that he wants to improve the security architecture. I think one military guy said today that even in all of this, you should go and overhaul the police. That tells you that this is a joke.
All right. It's been a pleasure.
All right. So after hearing all this, do you still believe that Igbos are the problem of Nigeria? Drop your comment in the comment section, all right? I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.